Good evening, First Baptist. Pastor Matt here, and we are just 2 days out from Good Friday and 4 days out from celebrating Christ's resurrection at Easter. And I'm so excited to be able to gather with you for these next two opportunities and to see what God's going to do. And to help us get ready for that, I have four quick things that I would like to pass on to you to help you get ready for Good Friday and Easter. And they all start with P, so hopefully that'll make it easier to remember. The first, of course, is to pray. We want to pray for God to be gathering the people that we've been inviting, for Him to move in their hearts, to want to gather with us, to attend our Good Friday or Easter service and worship with us. Secondly, we want to be praying for God's presence to be experienced. We want to pray for the gospel to be made clear. We want to pray for God to save the lost, and that we would see many people trust in Jesus, not just in Muscatine, but all around the world. And so the first thing, again, is for you to pray. Secondly, to prepare your heart to worship. It is so easy at Christmas and Easter to run around, and we have all these traditions and family get-togethers, and we're trying to get from one place to another and make this time an enjoyable time for our kids, and we end up just exhausted and frustrated and angry by the time we gather to worship. And so take time over the next couple days to remember the good news of the gospel. Remember the story that we're celebrating. Remember how impactful that story was when you first put your trust in Jesus and believe, and allow God to refresh your heart. And just remember, the best gift that you can give your household, the best gift that you can give your friends and your family, is to have them see you love Jesus and to worship Jesus. That's more important than Easter baskets and the perfect picture and all the other traditions that we have. And so prepare your heart to worship. Thirdly, if you have kids on Easter Sunday, please pre-check your kids before the service for kids' church. So what we're hoping that we have a lot of families, that God brings a lot of families to our service on Sunday. And what we don't want is we're dismissing them for kids' church, and we end up with 30, 40 kids out in that area, and the person at the check-in desk has to take time to check in every single family at that time. And so the more of you that go over to that desk and pre-check your kids in before the service, then they could just walk right on by to kids' church. You can get back in the service, and we can spend time getting our guests connected in. And to help incentivize this, we have a book for you. So The Friend Who Forgives, the story of Jesus restoring Peter, the same story we're going to cover in our sermon on Sunday morning. And so if you pre-check your kids in, then you get that book before the service, and your kids can be looking through that leading up until that time. And so, again, pre-check your kids. And finally, church, let's pursue the guests that come. So the people that God brings to hear the gospel, let's show them the love of Jesus. So say hi to them, get to know their names as you meet them in the halls. If you see any of them sitting alone in the worship service, go sit next to them. I know that might make you uncomfortable, but maybe sit in a different place and sit next to them. And also during the greeting time, I would just encourage you, if you see someone new sitting in your section, go over, take the time to introduce yourself, get to know their names. And oftentimes what we have guests who don't fill out the guest cards. And so if you would take a moment, if you could have some of these conversations during the greeting time, and then go back to your seat afterwards and just take out a guest card and fill out the card for them. So any information you gather during that time, their names, what town they're from, sitting by so-and-so, anything to help us be able to follow up with our guests. Our staff has got pretty good at being able to help track down some of these guests and be able to follow up with them, even if they didn't fill out a guest card. And so you could help us tremendously in being able to do that. And that might enable us to be able to have some gospel conversations and to lead some people to Jesus that we otherwise wouldn't have. And so if you could help us out by pursuing guests on Sunday, that would be wonderful. All right, so the four things again: pray, prepare your heart for worship, pre-check kids, and pursue guests. If you do those four things over the next several days, we are going to have a great worship service because we know God is going to show up. He always does. He's faithful to do that, and He's going to do a great work in us. And I'm excited. All right. Love you, church. Pray, prepare, pre-check, pursue guests. All right. We'll see you in a couple days.